Welcome to episode 5. In this video, we're covering all of these thingamabobbers. Wow. No way. Check that one out. Holy. Wow. If you got a stock ECU with your donor LS engine, you can definitely reuse it with your car. As long as the mods are pretty tame, your ECU is going to be able to compensate and keep your LS running smooth. Now, you will need to take your ECU to a tuner and get the immobilizer tuned out, and I recommend that you get all of the other emissions and garbage taken out while you're there as well. It shouldn't cost very much. Obviously, if you want to, or if you're making way more power, you can always go with a standalone ECU as well. We're not going to dive into all your options in this video because there is a ton of information out there about how to pick the proper ECU for your build, and it's just not specific to a Miata swap. So let's continue. For your gauges, we're going to start with your coolant temperature gauge and your oil pressure gauge. These are actually pretty straightforward, as we're going to use the same gauges in the cluster, the same wiring, and we're even going to reuse the stock Miata sensors. The only thing we're switching up is we're going to get these adapter fittings and thread them into your LS block. And then you're just going to take your Miata sensors and thread them into those adapters. That'll have those gauges working perfectly. You can get these adapters at Flying Miata, or you can figure out what thread pitch they are and go source them from wherever you want. To get your TAC to work, your best bet is to use a Dakota Digital TAC interface box. This little bad boy can take almost any TAC input signal and convert it to work on any TAC output signal. So for this, it's really easy to install and program to get it from the 8-cylinder input to the 4-cylinder output so that you can reuse your Miata TAC. Also, when I installed it on my car, it fit perfectly under the gauge cluster hood. You can get this online at all popular websites like Summit Racing, CJ, or whatever, or you can also get it from Monster Miata. For hooking up your speedometer, you can also get a conversion box for that. It takes an input signal from the VSS on your transmission, and it converts it to a manual little thingy-majigger that hooks to your speedometer. It seems like wizardry to me because I've never actually seen one of these work, but man, it seems like what all the cool cats are doing, and that's what they're recommending on the forums. You can get this from Monster Miata's website for about $85. Let's talk about getting your throttle pedal set up. This one's going to be pretty easy. If you're using a drive-by cable throttle body, you can use the throttle cable out of an NA Miata, an NB Miata, an F-body donor car, or something universal like a low-car cable. The consensus online is that an NA Miata cable works, but it's just a little long. An NB cable is perfect. An F-body cable will also work, and a low-car cable is just more expensive than any of the other options. So, whatever works best for you, do that. If you're going with a drive-by wire throttle body, it's going to be a bit more work as you have to figure out what pedal to use and you have to figure out the mounting. It's really important to know that not all GM throttle pedals have the same resistance values, and you have to have the right pedal to work with your computer. If you go and just grab the first pedal out of a junkyard that you find and spend all afternoon installing it, there's a decent chance that it won't work and that you'll have to start over again. The last thing for us to go over is your clutch master cylinder. Your stock Miata clutch master cylinder is not going to have enough gusto to move your new clutch, and you're going to need to upgrade to something with a 7/8 bore. Currently, there isn't one that bolts right up to a Miata firewall, so you're also going to need an adapter bracket. I got my clutch master cylinder from Willwood, I made my own adapter bracket, and I sourced my own hydraulic lines from my local parts store. You can also get a pre-made kit from V8 Roadsters and Monster Miata. They just cost a bit more. If you'd like to source some of it yourself but you're unable to fabricate your own adapter bracket, Monster Miata sells just the adapter bracket, and then you can save a couple bucks. Well, that brings us to the end of our LS Swap Miata guide. We put a whole lot of work into this, and I'm really hoping that you got some value out of it. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below or message us on social media. We'll see you in the next video.